want to do here to establish credibility is have your checklist in front of you and really fix the things you got to fix, right? I'm just going to go through how to fix the errors, not necessarily in any order, right? So again, just have your checklist and whatever applies to you, just follow those steps to go ahead and get fixed, right? So anyways, let's continue. So anything you pay for, just consider keeping the receipts. You may be able to write it off as an expense, right? Consult with a CPA for tax questions. So fix these first. This is required before applying for any sort of funding, right? You need the business account, not like the checking account, the EIN, your DUNS, your business addresses must match, no virtual, and you need a merchant processor or a payment processor. As I mentioned before, no virtual, home addresses are fine. Fix this next if you can. It increases the approvals, but not always required, right? So you need the website, the domain name, and email, the professional email. Phone number switch from personal to business. You can consider that. Honestly, I still use my cell phone. Or you can have like those apps that gives you like a second phone number, so you don't have to go buy a whole new phone, right? Accounting software or a CPA to prep your taxes, right? You basically, this is just so that you can start getting your financials in order, right? Start keeping your books tight. Anyways, now here's the actual like how to. So the business address. If your business address does not have a physical location or it's a home address, leave it how it is. Do not use virtual, okay? It's not bad to have the home address as the business address since there are many home based businesses now. It's very common. If you're a brick and mortar, obviously you're going to want to use that address, right? Because you have the lease agreement. It's an actual like location that you're renting out, and it's not being shared with other businesses, right? So again, that's the idea behind it. And really, I've spoken to tons of bankers about this. The reason they don't like virtual is because theoretically, what you can do is apply for a bunch of loans, get approved, and then cancel your subscription for having that address, and then just disappear, right? That's like why they don't like it, right? And that's like the fraud cases that they have had in the past. People have done that. Whether they've gotten away or not, I have no idea. But point is, no virtual, and that's why they don't like it. You just look like a scammer. I ain't saying you're one. I'm just saying that's how the banks judge you. Okay. So, business articles. This is how you're going to fix your business articles. Now, this changes from state to state, okay? Like, and this is just assuming you need to update your business articles, like whether that's the business name, owners, address, whatever. You're going to want to Google update LLC address or update corporation address, and then the state. You log into the state filing, like the Secretary of State, where you registered your business, and then you make the appropriate amendments, right? Your CPA can always help you walk you through this. If you have a business attorney, they can help you, right? But if you're 100% completely new, like myself, like who just didn't have the money to hire a CPA, then, like, for example, update LLC address, Arizona, and it'll give you how to do it, right? It'll tell you what forms to do. You can do it in person, right? You can mail it in, and this is for at least for Arizona, it's a statement of change, right? I'm not going to get into the specifics because I would have to make 50 different videos for all the states, right? That's why I'm not going to get into the specifics, but this is like what it looks like for Arizona at least. Here, a change business owners, California, right? We're playing around right now. I'm not necessarily saying like I'm going to walk you through it. I'm just showing you. You'll need to navigate a few steps. Here. So in California, they call it a business transfer, right? Business name, right? And this is California, but change business owners, Florida. Florida's literally just an amendment. They don't even call it a transfer of owner like that, right? My point is every business is different, right? You just have to go to the appropriate websites. Also, these people are actually really good. Well, at least Arizona, like when I call the Secretary of State, like they're really nice. They walk you through it. right? And they can help you, right? But yeah, here you see all of that. So update your information, and it gives you the steps. Again, I'm not going to get into the specifics because I would have to make a bunch of videos on it, right? So that's that, and then we're here. Let's go back here. Now that's for your articles, right? Whether that be incorporation or like your LLC docs. Now to update the EIN, there's the easiest method is when you file your tax returns, just enter the new business address, right? Because like your EIN is attached to like your returns, and so when you file, you can just put in the new address, and then the IRS will update it. Let's say you're not filing returns, you need to do it in the middle of the year, whatever the case may be. You can submit IRS form 8822B, right? I included the website here, but you can just, if you don't, you can just go to IRS change ad of address, and it'll give you the actual steps, right? So look, boom, there it is, form 8822, and then you just fill this out, right? Again, if you need help with something like this, a lot of times tax professionals can help you, right? Mail the form to IRS office on page 2 um, of the form. It varies by state. So, because not all IRS offices handle everything, right? So, look, you see right here, Alabama, etc., etc. You want to send it here. Florida, Louisiana, blah blah blah. Send here. Arizona, you go to the Utah off. You send to the Utah office, so on and so forth, right? So that's how you file that. Or you can just call the IRS. It's surprisingly they answer. It's a real pain, but again, these two forms here are like if you need to do, like, let's say you change the address like today. It's like what month is it? We're in July. I don't know many business owners that are doing their taxes in July, right? So like someone like that, right? Like they can call or submit the form, right? Now, if you need to update your business name on the EIN, you're gonna want to see if you qualify to do that. LLCs, it gives you the rules, right? You don't need a new one. So sometimes you need to get a new EIN, right? So these are the reasons why, and then you don't need a new EIN for these reasons here. And then they have the rules for the corporations, etc., etc., right? So you want to read through all that. So if you don't need the new EIN, then you can go ahead and update it. But if you do, well then to get an EIN, here, let me show you how to get one. If you need only if you need a new EIN, get a new EIN. And I know it might be a little silly, but some people may have hired someone to get the EIN, right? So that's what I'm showing you guys. And you can get one every 24 hours. Remember that. You print out your confirmation letter and save it for your records. If not, you're going to have to call the IRS so that they can fax it to you, literally. Okay. So you click apply for EIN. And then what you're going to do is you're going to have your articles of incorporation or organization in front of you. And literally, whatever is on your articles, make sure you input it here, right? So if it's an LLC, select LLC, right? And continue. How many members? Let's just say one. Arizona, continue, started a new business, right? Whatever is going on, or right, you'll know, and you put in your information, the addresses, and that's it, right? So that's how you update the business name on the EIN. You can send in written request, or you can call the IRS again, right? Again, you want to check the rules first if you need a new EIN first, because sometimes you need a new one, right? So important reminders. Use the address from your articles of organization or corporation when updating. If you have a CPA, they can handle a lot of the EIN updates. Updates may take 4 to 6 weeks to process, so plan ahead, right? Right. So a lot of these, again, a lot of the funding is patience. Like, like let's say your file isn't ready. It won't be ready for another month, right? Whatever the case may be. In that case, if you need to make some changes on the EIN, well, it takes about 4 to 6 weeks to process that as well. So might as well get started on that. You know what I'm saying? Plan ahead. Anyways, let's continue. Your Duns and Bradstreet, you can update it here. What if I don't have one actually? I'm going to show you in section 3 and how to complete the profile right here. How to do that, okay? But everyone else to change it, you just go to the DMB website right here to update it. You follow the instructions to do that. Agree and proceed. And usually you gotta find it and you put in your information here, okay? For the business. For your Experian profile, this is Experian for business, by the way, not necessarily your actual profile. It's very simple to update. You just go here. You need to look for your business. Start with a business search. You go here, put in the business, right? So here, let's see if I can find one. Pixies Enterprises LLC, Chandler. Well, here, my company. Let's see if it comes up. So, um, yeah, so they come up, right? And you just go to proceed, etc. And now, oh, and the reason you do this is because sometimes just by giving them the correct business address, name, and all that, you'll just get an Experian profile. Not necessarily a score, but like it'll start giving them data on who owns it and things like that, right? And again, use the address on your articles. And then the last one is get a merchant processor if you don't have one. Really, I break down the differences. I started with a third party processor, basically QuickBooks. But if it makes sense for you to get an actual merchant account, like through a bank, Costco, or whatever, maybe you can do it, right? The only difference is that with third party processors, it's usually a subscription, no credit check. Merchant accounts, you usually have to have a good credit score. They look at various things. The good thing is the banks can track you, right? You can read through the differences, right? At the end of the day, you'll know what's good for you and your business. Just because I use QuickBooks doesn't necessarily mean that is the best on the market. That's just what I use because it's just easy for me. But maybe one day I'll get the merchant account. I'm probably will. Well, yeah. Anyways, final thoughts. So, which one should I choose? I guess this is just a general guideline. Like, if you don't have the best of credit, maybe get a processor. You know, you want business loans, lines of credit, strong banking relationships. You can get the merchant. If you're retail service based or a local business, right, having that local relationship is going to help with getting your transactions like processed. Any sort of fraud disputes, like you're gonna that's really the main benefit actually on traditional merchants. Generally, with these payment processors, you need to be running a lot of transactions before they start to consider you like a premium client. But generally, because you're starting out locally and you're working with local bankers and all that, they the traditional bank merchant account, you can sometimes get, I guess, just a better client experience, right? Not necessarily like better fees, whatever, but like they will treat you a little bit better because you're coming in, they see your face, they know you, your business, you're building a relationship, a strong relationship. Third party processor, like you can get approved like today, start running transactions today, quick setup, right? But it's going to be a lot harder to build that relationship. Like the disputes process, like they're going to really grind you on it compared to something like this, right? But again, that's up to you. Again, it's always good to have multiple just in case if something weird happens, I think. But again, that's up to you, whatever you want to do. Now, next step is to finalize the business profile, which again I'll get into, and then again the new business owners, I'll show you how to register everything here in a sec. And then once the new business owners get registered, this is where everyone basically is back on track on the same path, right? But anyways, so yeah, let's continue.